أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين صل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Today I spoke a lot today, first day. It was the first day at the college. So the new students, since the morning I have been speaking. So my voice, excuse my voice. It's a very serious subject to me. It is very serious for me to keep the balance. How are we going to keep the balance in or under any circumstances? Of course, what we will pay attention towards the end of the class, that the Qur'an is full of the verses really related to this subject. I have chosen only a few. So many human conditions are discussed in the Qur'an. You can ask yourself, how much of these kind of verses that I have paid attention to. So, what is the significance of this matter? We read the Qur'an only under certain expectations. We don't usually, especially those people who come from the Muslim family background, read the Qur'an with certain expectations only, as if, we're screening it, not really exposing or letting the Qur'an expose itself to him because of this taken for granted attitude. We are Muslims, this is our book, and we read it for mostly barakah purposes, that God will bless me when I read the Quran. It is not a means of reflection and appropriating the message to himself, the person himself or herself. Now, what it is telling me, the question, without taking anything for granted, without saying that I am already Muslim anyway. No one is expected to say that, no, I am not a Muslim. But at the same time, when we expose ourselves to the Quran, when we sit in front of the Quran, the first thing we have to decide, look, this is a guiding book for me, and I am just reading it first time. Anytime I read, the first time I have to look for a new message from the Quran. Otherwise, Quran is, they say, it's like a bride. It's a very shy bride, doesn't let herself really freely expose to the reader. Not only the Quran, the other sources as well, other sacred sources, because there is no need to talk about the corrupted version, revelations or corrupted scriptures. Whatever it is, people take it seriously, people sit in front of it, and they want guidance from it. So we have to respect people's attitude towards their sacred sources. So as far as we are concerned, mostly here, the Quran is a sacred source for me, yes, a God's guidance for me, yes, but please pay attention to it. When you read it, if you don't expose yourself, or if you don't let the Quran expose yourself by freeing yourself from your previous beliefs, prejudices, or understandings, whatever, doesn't matter. Quran doesn't speak to you. That's what my experience is. But somebody may have, no, I read it and I benefit from it. That's their choice. But we may read the Quran and we may not be aware what we are missing. If you don't know what you are missing, you are not aware of what you are missing. So try this one. Expose yourself. This is the God's speech, speaking to me now. And don't deny yourself. Or don't pretend as if you are the very strong believer, the followers of certain religion, Islam or any other religion. So make yourself free in front of the Quran. Say, just a minute, what is it telling to me? So we will see the verses now, inshallah, related to this subject, how to keep the balance. It is very difficult, though. But this is a very difficult topic. I admit that I don't know whether I will be really able to share what the message of the Quran is. It definitely partially, but very small portion of it. Yeah, alaykum assalam.
Just really quickly, you say that we should open ourselves to it and read it and reflect upon it based on my personality, my being, taking away preconceived notions. I can sort of see that if I understand the language, but if I don't know Arabic, then I need to read a translation or interpretation.
Yeah.
And that automatically means that I'm taking somebody else's
Of course.
interpretation.
Okay.
So,
If you are not, that is a very serious pitfall, if you like. If you are not reading somebody else's ideas when you read the translations or commentaries on the Quran, are you 100% sure that instead of reading other people's perspective, you will be reading your own perspective, not the Quran? Are you sure about this? That is very essential. It means I am not reading, for example, somebody else's interpretation of the Quran. I am reading the Quran. What you are reading is nothing but your own interpretation. So whether it is your interpretation or my interpretation, the reader of the Quran's interpretation, or another person's interpretation, there is no way to get rid of interpretation. That must be 100% established in your mind. I'm not in reading the interpretation. What are you reading? Whether in the Arabic original language, doesn't matter, or in English translation, no, almost the same to me. Your own conception of the vocabulary employed in the Quran. That is essential, and we don't think that we are not interpreting when we read the Quran from bare translation or from just reading the Arabic. If somebody is a native Arabic speaker, thinks that he is really reading the original language. But what is important, which meanings you are really putting into the words of the Quranic vocabulary. That is your perception, my perception when I read it. So there is no way to avoid from interpretation. No one can ever avoid from interpretation. So even if I may challenge the people, okay, there are many other ideas, opinions. I respect everybody's opinions, but respect is different from following it and approving. That's your opinion. I respect that. Keep it for yourself. This is my opinion, and I will keep for myself. So there are many other points, but even the prophet represents, we have to understand this. People come up with an idea without thinking. But, this generalization is very common disease. The prophet explains the Quran. Yes, explains the Quran according to the limitations of the time and the conditions of the event taking place. Right? That interpretation is definitely limited. No one can ever represent the whole meaning of God's word. We have to be very careful about this. This may sound new to you because people come, first in order to understand the Quran, you have to read the Hadith. Why? Because the Prophet interprets the Quran. But that's correct. But we have to be very careful. When we read from the Hadith, we read the interpretation of the Prophet of the certain verse related to certain conditions. In another condition, the same Prophet will, or will means really may, interpret the verse within another context. That's quite normal, because no one ever can comprehend God's mind. God's knowledge is infinite. So the Word of God includes in it or inhabits into it, in it, the absolute knowledge. We can only get partially, right? So bear this in mind, and then decide whether will you follow your interpretation of the verses of the Quran, or will you follow the interpretation of somebody else who is more expert on the topic, has the right to speak, right? If you think you are more expert on the topic, put yourself in the front. If you think somebody else might have studied better and have better background as far as the knowledge of the Quran is concerned, give him the priority and learn it. Why do you come to study in the colleges or the universities or high schools? Why do you need the teachers? Because they are expected to know better and guide you into the subject that they are studying, right? Do you get it? So my fear is, when I read it, I think I'm not following anybody. Yes, you are following your ego. Egoistic interpretation of it, and you are giving priority to yourself, not to yourself, or another new Egyptian Muhammad. So we have to be aware of it. It means, if I don't know, I go to the experts. All right? Why, when it comes to understanding the God's word, I wouldn't prefer the experts to my own interpretations? Do you understand? That point will come out again and again, and we will repeat it, because we need to remind ourselves this. Because there are many ideas going on, which is quite normal. Of course, human beings will develop by really bringing about different points of views. Of course, we respect. Everybody will speak, of course. But when they use the language, they say, of course, we shouldn't follow other people's ideas, so we have to follow ourselves. When you read the Quran, when you read the Hadith, you will expose yourself to the original source and no intermediaries. This is a trick. This is impossible. You understand? You are clever enough to understand the importance of this, isn't it? Yeah. And the other people say, with an authority, they say, of course, the Quran can only be understood through the Prophet's teachings. All right, it sounds perfect. But they forget that the Prophet's teaching is recorded only in the form of outward language only. And limited to the conditions of that event. Whatever, Prophet didn't have an halakha like this and said, look, we are going to study the Quran now. This verses means this. And did you write it down? Take notes. The 21st century people will ask. So take this one. Exactly, this means this. Nothing more than this. Nothing less than this. All right? No, it is all. That's called in English occasional. Occasional means on a certain occasion, the conditions are there speaking to a certain person within a certain need of this person. Prophet uses his wisdom as a prophetic wisdom as well, okay? Much better than ours, let's say. And I can refer this verse to this person only this much. That is hadith. You have to pay attention to it. It doesn't guarantee the whole meaning of the verse. So we have to know it. If you don't know it, please not to read it. not to read the hadith saying that, the Prophet explained the meaning of this verse and I have got the best source for the explanation of it. It's misleading. We have to tell these people, to ourselves, that don't mislead yourself. But know that the prophetic explanation for that occasion is the best. Yes, I agree. For that occasion is the best. That's why if someone doesn't know the conditions, he'd better not to read the hadith, because it's very misleading. Because without knowing the conditions, you say, this is the hadith, I know what the Prophet said, so I'm going to practice Islam. But you don't know the limitations. Yep. If you don't know. That is the general topic. And now today, we are going to concentrate on how to keep the balance. It's very difficult. There are two methods, there are two stages, if you like. One is, when something good happens, we are relaxed, okay? We are comfortable. We don't take a negative attitude. So everything is happening as I expect, it's fine. Whoever does it, I agree with him. It's a good God. It's a nice God, loving God. That's good. When something happens bad, the people divide into two groups. The minority among the human beings, especially those who are more educated in philosophy or, thinking about the reality of this world, etc. I'm not blaming them. They say that something is bad going on, and if there was a purposeful act of creation in the world, if it was a purposeful act of creation in this world, if there was a will behind these events, but thinking or concentrating on the bad events only, then what is the purpose in harming the creation or people? If the event is created by God, then why would God harm his creation, his own creation? So there is no way to accept that there is a will, conscious will behind the existence. If it was, it wouldn't harm people. Or the other creatures, we call it calamities or disasters. So there is no God. I understand that there is no God, there is no will behind it. It's happening by itself. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. These are the minority. These people make the minority among the people who think. But majority of the people don't think in this way. They feel at the calamities, disasters, they feel humiliated, weak, powerless, impotent. They say, if only there was somebody who will save me from this calamity. So they turn God to God. Say, please God, you are the only one who take care of it. So, please take me away from this disaster. Please save me. That's more human. It's more human. So the Quran explains this in these two attitudes. We will see the verses, but we will study the verses related to ourselves. First, let's ask ourselves: is there anything wrong in the creation, in the world? Muhammad, do you think anything wrong in the creation? What's your major?
Me?
Yeah.
Finance.
You are the first guest. So,
Finance.
finance?
Yeah.
You know on the money. No, somebody is, somebody who studies something technical. Ladies? Anybody who studies technical things? Is there any, calculations or maybe, I don't know, engineering? Yep. Yep. Do you think anything wrong in the creation?
Depends on what you mean by wrong.
Let's say defect, the galaxies are not really set properly. If they were made in another form, it would be much better. The atomic structure or the particles are not really put in a perfect order. Otherwise, it was in this way, it would be much better. This doesn't seem to, and not many people argue. A very small minority of people looking for an excuse to justify their denial of the Creator or their being unable to submit themselves to God. They look for an excuse. They say, no, this is, the nails keep growing. If they didn't grow, it would be much better. For example, like the teeth, like our teeth. They are not growing, so we don't have to cut every week. Sharpen them. So, like this, it would be much better. But that's an excuse. We know that the things are perfectly arranged. Okay. Why I am given freedom then to choose here and there as if I am going to see the cracks or defects in the creation and then, okay, this is wrong, something is wrong there, I have to correct it. What is my mission in the creation? What am I expected to do here? Why am I here? With a free will and some power to choose. Why am I here? To make money and pay the rent and the taxes and car expenses and food and then die? What is expected from me? Yeah.
Just to find and acknowledge your source. Where you
Find and acknowledge the source of
your creation.
Yeah. So we are not here to correct anything, right? One. And we are not here to add anything to already perfectly established of the order of the universe, but we are here to find the source. That makes sense, and I will spare the details of this beautiful answer for another discussion, because I have something in mind, inshallah. What is the purpose of our existence in this world? I will spare it. So that's a beautiful answer and beautiful approach to the creation. I am here to know what the source of the existence of this world is, so that I will refer it to myself. So I don't care who built this building. Really, I don't care. Really. Even it belonged to me. For example, I have a house here, a building, It was built in before 1900. It's an old building, so they are very strong, stronger than the new ones. Don't worry, don't say that they are old. So, okay, I don't care. I never investigated who made it, who was the architect of this building. So what I care about myself, who made me. When I investigate the existence or the creation of other things, I investigate it as related to myself. At the end, I will come to myself. Whoever made the moon must be my maker as well. That's why I'm investigating who made the moon. For example, who created the moon? Or whoever made this world must be related to me. So I am in the center, in reality, whether I realize it or not. Sometimes I ignore, I pass by vaguely, without paying real attention that, standing in front of the mirror and challenging your own existence. And who are you and why are you here? Who made you to yourself? It is very challenging. Not many of us might have done this. No, it is very challenging. You're facing your reality yourself. Have you ever tried? No, so it's very challenging. So, but we reflect our concerns on other things. Who made the chimpanzee? Who made the, let's say, frogs? How they develop? But at the end, I know that the answer is going to be related to my own existence, my own self. So myself is in the center. So whatever happens in the world, I am concerned with my own being in reality. It's not a selfish thing, to be concerned with one's own being. It's very human. It's very, if you like the word, natural. The expected man came. Right. So it's very, if you like, the way of our creation is centered around this reality. So I am concerned with myself. So if anything happens, let's say, something happens out there, let's say the people are being blown out and then the war is going on there, the people are dying, it concerns me. Yeah? If I was subject to that event, how would I feel about it? I don't want it. So extension of my own interest to others, it shouldn't happen to them as well. Do you understand? That is the extension of it. That's quite normal. That's not bad. That's not really selfish attitude. So that's how we are expected to use our own abilities, human abilities, in an extended form. But center is me. So if something happens over there, the Quran doesn't really talk about the events happened over there. Quran concentrates on the events happened to you and your own reaction to the event. To your own reaction to the event. That's why we have to pay attention to the verses when the verse speaks only the calamities happening to person himself or herself. Okay? I have to think about it. Something is happening here in this world, whether to me personally or to something or somebody else out there, it is my concern. It's my concern to myself, as if it is happening to me. And my attitude will be, what am I expected to do here? Yeah? So why am I given this option while the things are taken care of by an omnipotent creator? So he is powerful enough over everything. And why am I subject to this kind of good things and bad things happening to me? So which kind of attitude I should take? God's decree, God's decision is there. and my free will is here, and I am free to rebel, or I am free to extract a kind of acceptable wisdom in it and take lesson from it in order to fulfill my mission in this world. This is important. In order to fulfill my mission being in this world. That is the hardcore of the subject. What is my position? I have to be, I have to be brave enough to face this reality, to challenge this reality. So this is my problem. Whatever happens, I have to understand this matter as far as my own existence is concerned. Right? So we will be ready, inshallah, to go into the verses and see how the verses talk about mostly when bad events happen, people's rebellious attitude. Why? When good events happen, people's as if positive attitude, not rebellious, but Qur'an says that's the most dangerous test you are going through when not bad things happen to you. Be careful. When good things happen to you. We will pay attention to the verses. When good things happen to you, then you are in test, real test. So we have to welcome to our sister who had thought you are okay. We are pleased to see you, alhamdulillah. So she has been hospitalized. So I don't want to mention the name for the sake of recording, but alhamdulillah, we see that she has recovered. Alhamdulillah. So she's being tested now. When she was in trouble, okay, whether she was in hospital, as an example, I'm not being personal. So it is okay. It's not dangerous. After coming out of hospital, the test starts. Have you ever thought about it? That's against what we normally know. So when something, calamities happen, that's fitna we call, yes, fitna or musiba in Arabic, and a test, means of test, or, yeah, test. But I wouldn't call it test, but, that's how it is translated usually. I would call it education, the means of education. That's an opportunity for you to make progress. But it doesn't seem to be an opportunity to make progress. If we don't take these negative things when they happen to us as an opportunity to make progress in order to fulfill my mission in this world, being in this world, then when this calamity is taken away from me, that real danger starts now. Because I thought it was not a test, a calamity, a bad thing happened to me, and I cannot really overcome it. I cannot really solve my problem. I have to seek refuge into a superpower that he can do it. Right? So human beings feel really weak and needy when something happens. So if we don't really take it as an opportunity for me to make progress, then when this calamity is taken away from us, the real danger starts. Inshallah, we will go through the verses. Do we have any questions so far? Any questions so far? So what I would suggest it, but I don't know how are you going to do with this streamline. Can we stop here and then 20 minutes later? Mm-hmm. So we will come back and carry on and go into the verses. Okay. Would you agree that? Okay. Mm-hmm. Inshallah we can do this. Inshallah. Okay. So let's stop it here. And somebody called Azan, and without waiting, Jama'ah, and come back. Inshallah, we shouldn't do very late afterwards. Okay? I'll just stop here. Slowly, and the English translation. We have to wait for 10 minutes? No, 10 seconds? No. Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So, in the introduction, we emphasize on the importance of paying attention to our attitude, personal attitude towards whatever happens to us, even the event happens outside of us or somewhere else, but ultimately we evaluate the event and we take our stand before the event as far as we ourselves are concerned. So human beings, every human being stays in the center of the universe. So I see that everything is for you, not for other people, but the existence of the other people is also for you, right? That's what we have been talking about. So when something happens or we don't like, the things that we don't like happens to us, we call them as calamities may happen or disasters may happen. Of course, we have to take a stand because we have been given the free will to take a stand before them. So we have to have our own interpretations, and something personally happens to us directly, we have to, again, evaluate the event from our own perspective, personal perspective. So when we look at the verses, we will notice that the main problem that we are having, I'm just recapping what we have talked at the first time, for the first period of our discussion. When something happens that we don't like to ourselves, that is fine. According to the teachings of the Qur'an, it is not very dangerous for human beings because of the human fragility, human sensitivity, human conditions. It is okay, although we don't like it, but God doesn't say that if something happens to you, you are terribly bad. No, no, no. God says when something happens to you that you like, then watch out. What do we mean by it? For example, I'm here, sitting here, and nothing is happening to me. I'm very comfortable with everything. AC is working well, and I don't know, friends are all friendly with me. No one is really hurting my feelings, and my stomach is full, although not. Let us assume that it's full. So I'm pleased with it. And my job is secured. I have my social security as well. All the insurances. All right, everything is insured. Okay, I'm fine. God says, "Now everything is okay with you. Watch out. Watch out for yourself." Let's see how it will go. But we won't. We have quite a number of verses with elected among more than 100 verses related to the subject. We were going to say maybe only 10 of them or something. That the Qur'an is really replete of this kind of analysis. Qur'an is really analyzing human conditions. Then we have to learn how to read the Qur'an as we emphasized at the beginning, the first part of the discussion, as related to myself. I have to expose my own condition to the Qur'an, or let the Qur'an expose itself to me by taking the Qur'an as a guide to me only. God's guidance for me. So He is, through the Qur'an, my Creator is educating me, not accusing me, educating me, reminding me. Okay. So let's choose a person who will read the Arabic version. Okay.
And most certainly we shall try you all, so that we might mark out those of you who strive hard in our cause and are patient in adversity, for we shall put to a test the truth of all your assertions.
So,
47.
thank you, thank you. So, uh, who will read this verse uh, in a questioning way, critical way? Critical means what it really means. This we shall try you all. Definitely, we shall try you all. Why do you think God is going to try me? Doesn't He know which kind of person I am? Anybody? Why? Why does God try me? You know, if I am an employer, if somebody wants to work for me, I try him because I don't know which kind of person he is. So it is my, human limitations makes me, puts me in this way. I understand it. But why does God need to try me? Okay.
I think Allah tries us not so that He may know, it's so that we may know who we are.
Okay, you know yourself, so what? So do you know that you are a very nice guy, so what?
I mean, when you get tried, it gets rid of the illusions you may have about yourself. Like you really know who you are during certain circumstances. Like it doesn't leave you room to lie to yourself, maybe.
So do you remember one sister over there answered something?
Mhm.
Yeah, if for the during the first period of our class, what did she say? We said it is a very good point. It means you know yourself. Is what am I going to do with knowing myself? Yeah, what? So I know you want to say something. It is the lack of language. So we have to make it much clearer. What am I going to do knowing that I know myself? So what is the purpose in knowing myself? Yes.
For the part where it says we shall put to the test the truth of all your assertions, is the end of that?
So first, you are patient or what? What are you? You are, for example, I am not a patient person. What? So what?
I was just saying that it's kind of saying that you say that I believe in Allah and you say the Shahada, but they're going to test, Allah's going to test you to see if you hold true to that when the going gets rough. When things get harder, you're still going to hold true to all your assertions.
Think about it. See, I mean, that's how we hear. You know, in general, what we do here in this class, I think those people who attend the class regularly, on regular basis, they know what we are doing here. We hear that, you know, how am I going to be patient with my Creator, okay, and how honest I am with my first promise to God that I believe in you. So God says, let me try you. Why? Because you may be dishonest. Don't you know me? Yeah? He knows me. Where I'm honest or I'm not honest. We say, sister, thank you for your answer. No, I appreciate everybody who says anything. Except Ragnar. So, she challenges really. So, no, you have to say your idea and you have to let me say my idea as well. So please, feel free, whatever you say. But we shouldn't take religious matters on the surface at all. We have to go deep down. We say that God knows everything, don't we? Don't we say? Okay. Don't we say that God knows the past and the present and the future at the same time? And God's knowledge is infinite, absolute. Okay? So, I am honest or not. He knows it. Why does He put me in trial? Okay.
I think more so for us to kind of going back to the whole acknowledgement point, it's
Yeah.
kind of more so that giving us another circumstance to know him and to remember him. So the trial itself is obviously a test of the patience, but it's more so now we're in a new circumstance to see God in a different perspective and to find the source of a new situation.
That is fine, thank you. But patience means we need to explain that patience. We say to the let us say here, patient in adversity, adverse cases. So, somebody's torturing me. Okay, I have to be patient. I'm not a Bilal Habashi. They will torture me and say, aha, aha. No, that is between me and another person. Yeah? When God tortures me, what are you doing? That's another matter. It's a severe matter that I have to understand. Yeah? So that I have to understand the patient. No, go deeper, go deeper. You are clever people, you are intelligent people. Go deeper. Don't take religion on the surface. Yeah, don't take on the surface and superficially. Go deeper and say, what am I going to be patient? Why does he give me trouble and I have to be patient? So if I'm not patient, what I will do, I will just challenge God. Say, why are you doing this to me? And God is the owner of the universe. You shut up. I can do everything. Come on. So what is the purpose in this kind of messages that we get from the Quran? Just like that when I tension now. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think it's not the act of being patient, it's what you are doing while you're being patient. Like what you're learning from the experience and in your patience, what is it that you're observing? And I think perhaps I don't know, but maybe that's why towards the end God says,
Of your assertions, I will really make who you are clear to you. You will learn it, not me. So it is good that learning. For example, how many years does it take to become a lawyer, for example? 8 or 7 and plus. So you've got to be patient to become a lawyer. Yeah? If most of you are maybe studying biology and becoming doctor, or engineers in maybe computer sciences. How many years do you work? How many? 7, 8, maybe graduate studies included 10. Yeah. We calculated on one classes that in order to become a doctor, you have to work from the very, very beginning of your education, build up, 24 years. Yeah, including the preschool, kindergarten education. 24 years. What we say, you've got to be patient. Patient in what? In making progress. Patient, not like, okay, I have to be tortured, all right, I shouldn't scream, all right. No, it's not patient. But patient means to keep going up and up and up in order to fulfill your purpose in your existence. Be patient. So you will improve more and more because your human abilities are endless, open-ended. So you have to use them in order to know who your Lord is. But that's why you are here. In order to know who is your owner, who is your Lord, who is your creator. So these qualities are not given to us to become a doctor or professionals. These human qualities are given to us to know who my Lord is. The purpose of my existence is here, not to correct anything in this world. We said that during the first part of our discussion, nothing is wrong in the creation. Everything is perfectly working, whether in the positive way or in a negative way. And negative means, for example, health is perfect, they created within a perfect order. Diseases are created within a perfect order. There is no crack in creation. Somebody wanted to, yeah.
So let me see if I understand the train of thought. God tests us so that we may learn about ourselves, and through our learning about ourselves, we learn about God.
And to increase in our knowledge
And
of
to
God.
concern our, so if the outcome that God desires is that we know Him, why not just make it very clear? That
It's clear?
No, I mean like what the people used to say to Moses, show us God. Why can't he just show himself to everyone and it's
Yeah.
very clear, there's God.
So
That's
why?
it.
Look,
If that's the
what
outcome,
it is like this. I want to become a lawyer. Why don't you give me a degree? Okay, that's our reality. Look, we have to accept what we are. But you can argue against this, against what I'm going to say. But we have to accept who we are, what we are, our situation is given. That's how I am. And there is a person coming up with not paper, of course, but called revelation, God's inspirations, God's revelation, saying that your Creator told me this. I said, what? I'm here. Okay, I'm here. This is the word. Here I am. And a person comes, I am the messenger of God. I'm cutting it short, actually, this matter. So, here your Creator tells me this. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ حَتَّى نَعْلَمَ الْمُجَاهِدِينَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ وَنَبْلُو أَخْبَارَكُمْ. So, really, I'll make everything clear for you. That which kind of person you are, you will come to know exactly who you are. Nothing to do with him. Because, but God doesn't say you should know yourself. God says we will know. But by definition, from the very beginning, very beginning, years ago, we have been having this kind of classes. We said this is the first condition of reading the Quran or exposing yourself to the Quran is the first condition of is this. God speaks to you in order to guide you, in order to teach you who you are. So read the Quran, that's for me. So this is a guidance for you. God says, I will know who you are. It means, as far as I am concerned, do you remember, or those who have read the email saying that, in the email I said, these are the questions I'm concerned with. What are my responsibilities? What I should leave to God? Where is the limit? So, when God says, in the Quran, like these ones, said, I am going to put you on trial. So whether you will be patient with it or not, but at the end, I will make everything clear to you. It means, we shall put to attest the truth of your own assertion, the truth of your own assertions, the truth of is in bracket. Yeah, to make the sentence understandable somehow. Otherwise, it says, we shall put to a test all your assertions. It means not I will learn it. By definition, we should know that the speaker in the Quran doesn't need to learn anything. So why is it telling me this then? Why is he telling me this since he doesn't need to know who I am? That's correct. So I have to say, this is for me, not for him. So it will make my own reality clear to me, that I will realize who I am, what I am doing. That's why these trials, here's بلية in Arabic, وَلَنَّبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, definitely we will put you, for those people who know Arabic, on a بلية. بلية is translated as trial or sometimes test, etc. But بلية is the opportunity given to you to make progress, so that you will learn, as the teachers put us on a test, so that not because teacher may not know who you are and may apply the test to learn your degree of learning, but in reality tests must be given in order to supplement your education. So to help you to realize what you have learned, what you have not learned, it is for your benefit. It's not for the benefit of the teacher in this example. So that's how we should read the Quran. It is not easy. I know that, because you are not told in this way generally, but we have to learn this if we want to benefit from readings of the Quran. There are some people who want to ask questions here. There were some hands. No? Hands? Are you? Okay. But yeah. Okay.
Maybe we can use another example. Like the angels, they follow God's command. They know God. There's no path to peck. They have just one path.
Okay.
And then when God created man, they questioned, why are you creating man? Why are you creating somebody that may cause
Problems.
Problems.
Yeah. Like Egyptians.
No, someone they're given free will. They may do this and they may do something else.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And God said, you do not know what I know. Then what is it that
Exactly, it is for you.
why is this model better than that model? Or
So that is for you. Have you seen any star who is disobeying the order in which it is created, it is made?
I don't know. I haven't seen all the stars.
Up there, have you heard any people who are really expert on astronomy or whatever the subject is, the title is called? So they say that they are disobeying the order that they are created in. Have you seen any atom which is disobeying? So God is telling me that you are not like this. Be careful. Okay? As a human being, you have free will. And you may misuse your free will, abuse your freedom, and do something wrong, or right. Teaching me. These analogies in the Quran are all for me. So I have to say, what are the angels represent in this example? What is the human, spoiling blood on earth? What is it representing for me? Read the Quran. That's what we spent how many minutes during the first section? Read the Quran for yourself, not for the sake of story. Nothing to do with you. Angels. Have you ever seen any angels? I'm not saying you shouldn't believe in it. That's something else. Why the angel example is given to you? For you. Apply it to you directly. Somebody wanted to ask another. Yeah.
So the reading of the verse isn't, we will put you through tests so you can, so to find out if you are patient or not on your assertions. There's also we might mark out those of you. Like that part you can explain. Like why does God need to mark out those of us, right? It's not saying that, we shall try you so that, you can learn this, or you can learn God, or you can learn all that. But it's also so that we can mark out those of you. And what's the significance of that?
Read it. Very good. Although mark out those of you, I have taken from a translation, I'm not better than the translator. So it is وَنَعْلَمْ حَتَّى نَعْلَمَ. It means so that we will know you, but apply this principle of reading the Quran for yourself. So by definition, again, I'll go back to the beginning of this session. God knows everything, doesn't he? So he wouldn't be a God if he didn't know. Right? So when he says, as an all-knowing, which is called omniscient God, so that I will know. Excuse me, God, you are contradicting yourself. So you say that I am alim, and I know everything, and here you say, I will see whether who you are really. I will learn. But it is not really God's part to learn. It is for me. So it will become clear for me how much progress I did, where I failed, where I was successful, so that I will evaluate myself, not for God's sake. But we also know that God knows, as the verse Brother Ahab referred to. Allahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. God knows and you don't know. It means I have to make sure that really the creator of this universe knows it, knows what he's doing. And I have to make sure, not saying that, oh, God says I know it, so, and I don't know. Excuse me, God, I don't know. That's really, thank you for telling me, but I already know that I don't know the reality. So it is not practical. This way of reading the Quran is not practical. We have to read the Quran referred to my own personal responsibility from my own perspective. Does it make sense to you? So we have to learn how to read the scriptures in general. So we have to bear in mind the definition of the Quran or definition of any scripture, sacred source, script. Who is speaking there? Within which authority he is speaking? And whom is he speaking? For what purpose is he speaking? These are the four fundamental questions in order to be followed in order to understand what the message is. All right? So here God is speaking to me, and God is the omniscient one, knows, all-knowing one, and that's fine so far. And me, I don't know, but he's speaking to me in order to guide me. Guide means educate me in order to fulfill my purpose in being in this world. Right? So read the verse from this perspective, you understand that we will know means really we are going to teach you who you are. We will let you know what your reality is. Because of the authority of the God speaks to us, he of course uses this language, but I have to take it for myself as an addressee of the Quran, the speech of God.
So I appreciate all the questions because I'm struggling a little bit with the use of the language too, like why would he say that I want to know? But I just thought of something that I thought I might share with you. Is like the way that I maybe could understand it is like he says so that we will know, so that I will know, that's literal translation, those who strive in my way and those who are patient.
Mm.
It's because we will not get the chance to strive or be patient if we are not given the baliya, the calamity in the first place.
Or testing,
test.
or opportunity. I call them opportunity. I think Beliyim is opportunity.
Right. So he wants to show who is going to strive and who's going to be patient. And
It means you are in that position.
yes, but
Yeah.
for it to be shown, you'll have to be given the opportunity to
Yeah.
strive in
Okay.
the first place, or to be patient.
Yeah. It means you are given an opportunity. Use it. So, but you are given the freedom as well, free will. We always say this in our discussions. If a person reads the sacred text, all right, and forgets that he has the freedom to follow it, not to follow it, to interpret this way or another way, forgets that. Or when he or this person who is reading the scripture ignores that he is a creature who has freedom to obey or disobey, to follow or not to follow, to submit or not to submit, then he cannot understand the text. Because I am a person who has a free will. So when God speaks to me, he speaks to me as a person who has a free will to choose this way or to that way, and he has to remind me, if you choose this way, you will develop, you will fulfill your purpose in existence. If you choose this way, you will fail. So be careful, watch out. So if anybody forgets that, I am free to choose. Better not to read anything, neither hadith nor Quran, because you are not going to get anything. I am free to choose. That's why we say freedom comes before your belief. Do you understand that? Freedom comes before your belief. You are free. If you forget and ignore that you are free, if you say, I believe, baseless claim.
I think what it also means that if you don't go through hardship, you won't appreciate like the good things that's given to you. And I think if a human being is
Oh, that is another subject, but we are not dealing that side of it. Why are we given hardships? But we are just, today's topic is, how am I going to keep the balance under any circumstances? Where I am, why God is really giving me hardship? Why? Why is He giving me hardship? So, the purpose, the benefits or the wisdom in the creation of the hardships, or if you go there, then we have to deal the subject with another time, inshallah, in another time. So I know what you are saying, but we don't want to go into that one because we are not studying really divine determination and human responsibilities, human free will. We are just limiting ourselves with only two things. Here, something good happens. Here, something bad happens. So, which kind of way I should take before these two events, so that I will be in the balanced way, rather than rejecting it, denying that there is no conscious will behind it, or totally saying that, I cannot do anything. He is the boss. He can do everything, so I have to submit to him. But when everything is fine, everything is as I expect them to be, then forget about it. Yeah, that is the very limited subject, but a hard subject. Okay, one more, huh?
Okay, so my question is, fine, you saw and you realized that you have the freedom to choose, and, or just going back to this verse and talking about, just striving and being patient. Okay, but being patient in what, and doing what, and how, and where, what should I reach? I guess if I clarify my question, it would be, remember, I think a couple of Saturdays ago we were talking about the how and the what, which one goes first?
Yeah.
I think this is So let's just say, so now I don't know, maybe this to me is like, okay, the what? I understand that I need to be patient in my progress. But what is where am I progressing and how am I progressing? And I think my question is fundamentally epistemological. Like, how can I understand the nature of whatever knowledge I'm supposed to be
So,
receiving?
in the very briefly, during the first section of today's class, the sister said something that we are here to know who our Lord is. So, our abilities, human abilities, are given to us to know our Creator, and we don't notice that. And we will have a special section on it. So, how am I going to use my human qualities in order to know who my Creator is? Whereas we are dispersing it, we are wasting it in other fields. That's why we have to ask this question: why do I exist? Okay, God created me. What do I think? What do I think? Why God created me? What is expected from me?
I honestly don't know.
Sorry?
Right now that when
Anna, you will learn it. We will have a discussion about it. So afterwards you will say. So why God created me? That is a very challenging question. We don't ask this question. What we do, we hide ourselves from our prejudice, from previous prejudices. So, well, we are human beings, we have to struggle. Of course, life is important. All right, that's right. And you have to have a job. Of course, you have to study hard in order to get the job, okay? But we are also Muslims, we shouldn't forget our 5 daily prayers. It's very hypocritical. So we have to sit and seriously question, why am I here? It is very challenging. So it is not difficult because we don't think that this kind of challenging question is going to establish the foundation of my belief in my religion, whether it is true or not. But we take it superficially, although we take everything else seriously. But the religion is superficially. So just say, what am I expected to do? Tell me, I will do it and guarantee my paradise. Okay, go ahead, but you don't know why you are here. The first question is missing. There's no foundation. So they must go hand in hand. But we are running away from it. That's my job, if you like, or my mission. Come to your reality. Don't cheat yourself. Ask the question. If you don't get the answer, be brave and go and ask people. Some people say, I'm going to teach you religion. Okay, tell me, what is the purpose of my existence? So don't say that, if my nails grow longer, whether should I cut it here or there, which is the sunnah way of cutting it? This is the missing point. Fundamentals are not there. Do you understand? Fundamentals are not there. We are keeping ourselves busy with secondary subjects. Primordials are ignored, taken for granted. You cannot believe in God on a base which is taken for granted. Come on. If you want to have a small shop or a greengrocery shop to run and to have a partnership, need a support from somebody else, you investigate. Not only you, me too, Eric too. We investigate. Who is this man? Is he a trusty man? He promised me $100,000 to contribute to the capital. Does he really have it? So you ask for the bank statement. A lot of investigations. When it comes to religion, we just say, okay, am I supposed to do this? I will do it. It is not expected from everybody, but it is definitely expected from Ahab. You understand everything. When it comes to religion, we don't ask this question, why do I exist? Yeah.
Actually, if I may, I I guess going back to the verse, I mean, taking it all the way through a train of thought. For example, let's say we are faced with a calamity, we go in a room and we smell bad food or whatever, we're thinking, why is God making this for me? You kind of see, you kind of realize that this is not something under your control, you don't like that feeling of that food rotting. You could use that feeling to understand that this feeling I can't create within myself. I have no ability to do so. I don't know how to do it. God created it within me. If God created this feeling, He must not like it as well. We learn to be in the presence of the Creator through ourselves, by learning about ourselves. And by training ourselves to be in the presence of the Creator, we can be in the presence of the Creator later on, which would be the hereafter, I guess.
So you get prepared yourself, get your degree
So you
before
learn,
before looking for a job in the
Exactly.
market.
so that I guess that would be the whole process. He's
So-
teaching us
Yes.
to be in the presence, in His presence,
Yeah.
because we're not ready yet.
We need to develop.
Exactly, we
Yeah.
need to develop.
That's why we are created with these enormous abilities. The human abilities,
And
endless.
Yeah, he's telling us to be patient. You're almost there. You're almost there. You're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's what it means. Be patient. You're almost there. You're almost
Make
there.
progress,
Yeah.
continuous progress.
Okay, so all that is good. I mean, I believe all that, I understand all that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
where I sort of lose track of all that thought is, why does God care if I...
God doesn't care. You care.
No,
You
I-
care yourself.
So, like, okay, so God, like, nothing, this will not change anything to God. If I don't believe, this won't change anything, right? He's
It
still
won't
living the
change
same-
him.
he's,
You.
Yeah, I know, but why
Yeah.
does he care about me? I
No,
mean,
what, you are his handiwork. He created you. You make something and buy this and this one, and then throw it away. Do you?
Then
So
he could have
that's how
created
human
me already
beings.
believing in him, that's it.
So, no, you are, we said, one thing we said, we can argue about it. Look, but we said, we have to take our own reality for granted. It means, that's how I am. So I am given enormous, endless numbers of different qualities with enormous capacity. It is I am. And I am given the free will as well to choose this way or another way. Here I am. So what am I going to do with these capacities? Because I have been given the consciousness. The consciousness makes me realize that I have all these qualities. I am aware of it. I am aware of my own qualities. No one is going to teach me that, Ali, you can think of this. No, I am experiencing it. It is with me. I am aware of it because human beings are self-conscious beings. Right? So here I am. Of course, I don't know exactly what I am going to do. So that is how I am created. So my God comes in and speaks to me. Says, I'm going to give you guidelines, but I'm not going to interfere into your free will because I promise you that you will be free. That's how I am. I created you. And I will put you through different stages of existence, and while you are really having a journey through different stages of existence, you will be encountering different conditions, and then you will take different positions in order to develop yourself and get to know me. I want you to know me, and I want to help you. Do you think that the Creator will create me and just leave me alone without any guidance, and I will just waste my existence? It will be waste for His action of creation. Do you understand at all? No. So it will. So what I have to think of the reality within my own capacity.
Okay, so
Do you understand that?
when I get to know God.
So that's for
not-
you.
That's not the end of it, right? I get to know God so I can worship Him, right?
No, whatever it is, whatever you do, you get to know God. If only you get to know God, the necessary consequence of knowing God is worshiping. That is a corollary of it. That is the necessary result of it. So, getting to know God is everything, because worship is inevitable after getting to know. The problem here for us, why we have to pay attention to worship, be muttaqi, God conscious. If I don't know whom I am worshiping, what are you doing to me? So when you solve the first problem, get to know your God, worship comes automatically, because you will have yourself will decide that there is no way but worship my Lord. That is the consequence of it. That is not the result of it. That is not the reason for your existence, to worship God. That is the consequence of your existence. But in order to fulfill this consequence, this result, ultimate aim, you have to get to know who your Lord is. When you get to know who your Lord is, you have to learn. Do you say, for example, go to the, the hospital, I want to work as a doctor here. They say, have you been educated in medical studies? You say, no. And then, no, I'm sorry, you can't.
That's not the same. That's not the same.
But it's an analogy.
No, I mean, I'm saying that if the outcome is that God wants us to know Him, then why can't we just be like angels? God
So,
reveals Himself
God- God-
directly to the angels, and the angels know
No,
Him.
the
and
problem
that's-
is this. Sorry. The problem is here. God wants to know Him is a problematic sentence. Yeah? I have to conclude that my Creator, whoever created me, has created me with the ability to know Him. That will be my conclusion. We say very often, but I think you have not heard this, never speak from God's perspective. When you are analyzing, that is very important. Speak from your perspective. That will be your conclusion. I realize that I have been created in order to know who my Lord is. But the Quran says, I created you to know me. But I will say, you are telling me this, so I have to take it for myself. And, am I really created to know who my Lord is? Ask yourself. Look at your capacity, human qualities. You will understand that these endless human qualities are given to you in order to know who your Lord is. That will be your conclusion. We say, when you read the Quran, never imitate the Quran. Confirm the Quran from your perspective. Do you understand? These are very important principles in understanding the Quran. We don't know really how to read the Quran. We read the Quran to imitate. But of course, when it comes to certain regulations or transactions or rituals, the description of rituals, we imitate the outward form of the prophetic example, but it is not belief. Belief is another matter. Don't confuse them. Yeah.
And how do we address these transcendent questions, like the purpose of our existence, without trying to understand in some way or form God's
Guidance.
thought process or
God's guidance. Sorry, I shouldn't interrupt you. Please, Corey.
Sure. How do we try to understand the purpose of our existence without understanding God's point of view in that way?
you cannot understand God's point of view. You conclude that my Creator must have created me for this purpose. But God's point of view is given to you in order to guide you. So we are talking here about how to read the Quran in order to get guidance from it. But if you want to get guidance from the Quran, you shouldn't read the Quran in order to imitate it. Get guidance. It means, oh, God says that I created you to worship me. And you say, okay, this is the guidance. Am I really created to worship Him? That's the guidance. You got the guidance now. So look at the verse, the same verse, from your perspective and make an analysis of the verse for you as a guide, and you are expected to come to the same conclusion. Yes, really looking at myself, analyzing my human qualities, looking at my relationship with the rest of the universe, I realize that I am really created to know who the Lord of this existing world is. And you say, this verse is telling me the truth. Confirm it. So that's the principle. We read the Quran, we read the guidance of God in order to confirm it, not to imitate it, because you are not God. You cannot imitate. So we have to understand that we are going back to the beginnings. We studied all these subjects. How to read the Quran. The principle is there. We are expected to read the Quran to get guidance in order to make our own decisions. Now, Quran is not to be imitated. You cannot imitate God. But God speaks to you in order to give you guidance. That's why you have to come back. For example, God says, I created the universe. Don't say, God said that He created the universe like a child. So He did it. No, this is a very childish attitude. So you have to say, God says, I created the universe. You have to say, is it really true? Look at the universe. Who can be the creator of this universe? Investigate it. And only the omnipotent one, only the transcendent one can be the creator of this universe. And come back to the source. You are telling me the truth. Confirm. Get a guidance, but end up with confirmation. That's how we should read the Quran. It may be new for you because people are a little bit sensitive to reveal this to everybody, because not everybody can do it, but these people can do it. If you are not going to do it, who is going to read the scripture in a really confirmation way, or in a way that end up with confirmation? That is the foundations of belief in the books. You don't imitate yourself. Your childish education when you are 5 years old. So we believe in the Quran, in the Torah, and in the Bible, and the Suhuf, the pages revealed to the Abraham, knowing nothing about it, just repeating the words. It is valid for 5 years olds, but it is not valid for 25 years old such and such university graduates or doing graduate studies, for people like you. Some people wanted to say, maybe giving the priority to this brothers and
This goal of getting to know God, is this a binary goal, or does it have degrees? And I think I know the answer, but how do we measure ourselves? How do we track ourselves? Like, am I getting to know God more or less, or is it going to be one day I'll wake up and be like, aha, I've got it now?
Okay, you know the answer. Tell us.
I mean, it's probably like my hunch is that it's degrees, right? Like it's
Definitely.
a process. You have to keep doing it, and we forget things. Human beings are if I learned something yesterday, calculus, tomorrow if I don't practice it, I'll forget it, right?
So
So it's probably the same way with that as well.
that's what your reality is. So what is your profession?
I write software.
Software, yeah. Programming, yeah? So, not surprised. so I'm not talking, you're not surprised. There are a lot of software engineers here. So they are very clever when they are making the program. Every option is taken into consideration when you are making, if it's so, yeah. But when it comes to religion, we are Muslims, alhamdulillah, we pray and we never miss our fasting. It's easy. No? So it is okay. I'm not blaming you. Can you give a number which is within the infinite? You cannot really speak in terms of binary conditions. You have to make it open-ended. And if the number is infinite, can you say I am in the middle, I am in the first quarter? Because infinite has no degrees. You know that belief has infinite degrees. So no one knows where he is. But our responsibility is not to know where I am and issue on a degree, let's say, out of 80 out of 100. So I am an 80% believer. But I'm not expected to do that. They make jokes saying that we don't have belief meters. Like gas meter, water meter. So we don't have it. So it is impossible. By definition, it is impossible. But what we should do, we should always look for progress in recognizing who my Lord is by using my human qualities. It means I should never waste. I should be patient. I should be patient. It means, oh, that is enough. No, that's not enough. There is no end. So continuous progress in recognizing who your Lord is. That is belief. Belief is not static, cannot be static, and cannot be taken for granted. Belief cannot be taken for granted. These are golden rules, man. I have. Okay. Somebody else wanted to say. Did you want to say?
Totally forgot.
You forgot. Oh my, you are young, too young to forget. It's too.
I have a quick comment to Ihab's point. Is it taking the easy way out if I actually say I see no value in trying to figure out why God created me the way they created me? I see
From
no
God's
value
perspective?
in answering that question. It
It
does
is
nothing
from
to
God's
me.
perspective.
Yeah.
You are really wasting your time within within a field which is
Right.
completely beyond your
If
capacity.
He is all wisdom, what's
You cannot get
all
into infinite,
wisdom
man.
is?
So you have to look at yourself. You know the definition of the Quran. God speaks to me, to educate me, to guide me, to help me. So when I read the Quran, I should never read it from God's perspective. It is contradictory.
I'll
It
never
is
get
for
his
me.
point, right?
Sorry?
I'll never understand him fully anyway.
So you never understand it. You shouldn't. You don't have the quality to be equal terms with God, so that you will get into God's realm. It means alam al-ghaib. You are that's called the unknown. It means not knowable word
And that's,
for you. That's
what
a
he-
waste of time.
That's why he told the angels, I'm going to do that because I know stuff that you don't know.
But it means
right?
while he's speaking to angels, he's speaking to me that don't try to understand my mind. Don't try to read God's mind. It is impossible. What we are talking here is a very important matters. In theology, they are very fundamental matters. Then many scholars struggle on them. So these are my I don't like this word, but my humble conclusions from my readings. So you have to think about it years. It's not easy. Once a mindset As far as religion is concerned, it is very difficult to change. So the most difficult thing is in one's understanding of religion, to change or to be open in one's understanding of religion. So we are very late. We have 10 other verses. I think if we stay on one verse like this, of course, but I am very happy. I don't know whether you are. So you have to come with your questions, but you have to be tough before me because I attack. No, you have to be really, but you have to understand me. So why I attack? Because I don't say, oh, mashallah, sister, very, very humble, very believer, or how do you say it, modest, ahli taqwa, mashallah. He's speaking or she's speaking in favor of religion. If somebody speaks in favor of religion which doesn't make sense, I will say, shut up. But you shouldn't shut up. You should carry on, like Ahab. So you should carry on, but because only in controversial conditions that we realize what is white, what is black. Otherwise, we lose ourselves in gray field. All right, whether we believe, whether we don't believe, we don't know what we are doing. What we are Muslim, alhamdulillah, we are good. So Islam is a good religion. It doesn't harm people. But for some, it is a very dangerous religion. But for us, we know they don't know what Islam is. Islam is a very religious, very good religion. That's cheating yourself. You don't know why. Because you never put yourself on a test. And you never go to deep down the foundations of the matter on the surface. Say, I'm a religious man, so I perform my prayers, I'm a good chap, okay, person, okay. But believe me, 21st century is a very challenging century. That's called the postmodern conditions. And these conditions, your children will look at you and will try you. Will try you. Dad, why do we do this? Or Mom, why do we do that? Oh, this is not what prophet did. You have to do. No, that's stupid. It wouldn't make sense to it. And as long as they are dependent on you financially, they will say, yes, Mom, thank you. Okay, I'm busy. Oh, but texting with their friend, I've got a stupid mother. But what she says doesn't make sense at all. But I have to because my school fees need to be paid. So don't fall into this trap. Be realistic. Open up the ways. Call your new generations. Ask every question you want to ask. Ask and challenge me. Ask me, why do I pray? Don't say, come on boy, you are 7 years old. You have to pray now. Otherwise, the salam is coming. There is hadith. Prophet said so. And we say, which kind of prophet this man? He doesn't know what education is. So he's a prophet? He's a stupid man. That's what will happen in 10 years of boys or girls' mind. Don't cheat yourself, man. Be realistic. Prepare yourself for the next generation. Not already the generation is here, but be very realistic. Prepare yourself. If you don't know the answer, be brave to admit, I don't know the answer. And your child, text his friend, my father is a very realistic man, very, very good man, because he admits that he doesn't understand what he's doing. And it is good, but pretend to be knowing what you are doing, he will say it's stupid. And you will definitely have problems, because the people know everything, what is going on in the world, what the counter arguments against religion are, they will know. They don't have to come to a conference here to listen. The iPhone is enough. They know what is going on all over the world. So we have to prepare ourselves. First, we have to challenge ourselves. Sorry?
Let's not have kids.
So you don't care. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. Thank you. It was a wonderful discussion. I really liked it.